What's up, Minnow fam? I hope everyone's 2025 is going awesome so far. This time last year, January 11th, 2024 to be exact, I decided to stop wondering and what-ifing and committed to going full in, all in with my YouTube channel and started posting very regularly with the commitment of let's just do the damn thing. And it is now 1 year later and I'm about 13,000 subscribers in and 1.4 million views in. So I think things are trucking along pretty well, and moreover, bigger than the numbers, because numbers are fun. It's like a little game to keep track of, but the bigger excitement of this whole endeavor has been being able to connect with so many awesome people here around the world and get a platform to share things I really care about and get an artistic outlet as well. So I'm going to keep rolling with this in 2025 and see where it goes. But I do have a list of things today in the trusty journal. She's back. A little list of things I put together that I've learned in the past year of doing this experience of now being a YouTuber. I guess I qualify as. I hate the word influencer. I don't call myself that. I think it's cringe. I'm not here to influence you. I'm just here to provoke thought and inspiration. That's a gray area, but influence is like, do what I tell you, and that's not what we're here to do. So please don't ever call me a influencer or a guru for that matter. I'm just a chick sharing my life on YouTube that will hopefully spark some inspiration for all of you. But anyway, I have a list today of things that I have learned in the past year, and I would like to share them with you because there have been more than a few people in the comments that have said that they want to start their own YouTube channel, but they have some reservations or things they're not sure about. But they're also like, I think this list applies to many areas in life, not just if you want to be a YouTuber. So I thought I would share it with you all today. So let's get into it. Things I have learned from my first year on YouTube. Numero uno, creativity comes in waves. When I first started this channel, I was so gung-ho, and I did a little New Year's ceremony last year, like just really asking to have my creativity come forth, and it did. Sometimes when you ask, you really receive. This crazy surge of creativity came through me, and I committed to making a video every single day for a month, which is kind of a lot. Some of them were just shorts, but I said, no matter what, I'm gonna make a video every day for a month, which I did. And then for the next 7 months after that, I did 3 videos a week, which is kind of a lot, especially since my videos tend to be 20 to 30 minutes long, some even longer. Some people love the long ones. Some people say they're too long, but whatever. We'll get to I'm gonna get to that point in a second. But it was a lot of creativity for up until basically September. And then I decided to taper back and do just 1 video a week. And that's going to be what I stick with for this next coming year. It just feels more sustainable. I do pop out a short every once in a while because, again, the point is creativity, as I have learned. Whereas in the beginning, I was like, I couldn't stop the ideas from coming out. I was just scribbling on the paper, and I would be up late at night, and sometimes I would get up super early and film and then go to work and then come home and film and edit again. And it would be all of a sudden a 16-hour day, but I was like on fire with creativity. And I found in those moments, when I talk about balance in your life, balance doesn't mean every single day is going to look the same. Especially with something like creativity, I found you really can't control when it comes out. There are bigger forces at play, at least that's what it feels like to me. So when I would have these waves of creativity, I would honor it. And sometimes that would mean staying up really late or getting up early before work to do a project and kind of like feverishly, almost manically working at it. But it was fun and it felt awesome. And in those moments, it's like, oh man, I could just be creative forever. But then if anyone else out there is a creative, all of a sudden, sometimes you will boom, bonk and hit a wall, and all of a sudden it's like, I don't think I've ever been a creative person ever. I can't possibly think of one tiny fragment of something to say or do right now that would be creative. And I definitely hit those walls, and I think it just comes back to, I've talked a lot about on this channel about trusting yourself, trusting the process, and trusting that okay, it is going to come in ebbs and flows, and if you are in a stagnant, more stagnant period, it's okay. It's not going to necessarily be forever. That's those moments when I did hit those, I would definitely always come back to silence. That's why I talk about silence so much on this channel. Just coming back to shutting out the noise, shutting out the outside influence. And I think everyone's different. Some people can get a lot of inspiration from voices on the outside, so to speak. But for me, I've found the more I'm grasping on the outside, whether it's scrolling through other videos or books or listening to something or whatever to try and spark that creative thing, it actually works in the opposite direction because it just takes me away from my own inner voice. And when you shut down all of the outside stimulus, for me, it forces me to be creative. So whenever I did hit those walls, I would just say, okay, this is just right now, this isn't forever, and trust that some inspiration would come back. And it always did. If 9 out of 10 times, just go into nature and go into silence, and the inner voices will start to emerge again. Number 2, the comparison game sucks. Don't do it. Especially, I mean, social media is the worst of the worst with comparison. That's why I don't have any other platforms besides besides YouTube. I don't do Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, Pinterest, Twitter, TikTok, no, can't do it. That's total time suck and a total drain on your ability to see your own light, I think, because I mean, there's comparison all over YouTube too, but I think it's worse in things where it's just like pictures and snapshots. But even in YouTube, it is the only platform I use, and I don't watch a ton of videos. And I mentioned in my intention videos going into 2025, I want to keep my screen time really minimal to 30 minutes if I can this year. So that really doesn't leave room for watching other people's content. But that is a good thing for me because I think a lot of people are wired like this. You can start looking for inspiration, which is a good thing. That's why probably a lot of you are here. But it can quickly snowball, even if you're watching well-intending videos that aren't like trash, mukbang, whatever videos, but like good, like sustainability videos or minimalism videos or green living videos or self-help videos or whatever. They can start well-intending, but all of a sudden you can still snowball into the comparison game there. And if I would start to watch too many other YouTubers, I could definitely fall into that trap. And especially with minimalism content, I'm not here to compete with other minimalist YouTubers. I think anyone spreading the minimalist message is awesome. And there's a lot of people out there doing a lot of great things, but I don't want to just do copies of copies of copies and do versions of what other people are doing. And especially if you're looking at a channel that has like 1 million subscribers and that video got 100,000 views and mine only got 5,000, like that does nothing to add value to your life. It's just going to totally deflate your self-esteem and your confidence in your work. So if you are trying to do something creative, anything in life, don't compare yourself to other people that are in that same field or endeavor, friends, family, peers, celebrities, other influencers, hate that word, creators, whatever. Just focus on yourself, put your blinders on, stay in your own lane and focus on your own zone of genius and your own unique thing that you have to create. Because really, if that's the point of creativity, right? You want it to be something unique, that's your own niche, and not necessarily a version of something else somebody else is doing. Even though we all are constantly influencing each other in our circles, it's still the less influence you have, I think, the better when you are trying to create, and you can let your confidence shine through and your own worth and your knowing of your own abilities shine through a lot better when you're not looking at what other people are doing. Number 3, it's always subjective. I've had people say my voice is calming and meditating and soothing. I've had people say, shut up, you talk too much, your voice gives me anxiety. I've had people say, you're such a powerful speaker. And then I've had people say, your voice is too powerful. What does that mean? I don't know. I guess it sounds like I'm shouting at you. I don't even use a microphone. I'm on my iPhone, but I have a loud voice because I was a teacher for many years at a pool where you have to borderline scream just so the kids can hear you throughout all the chaos. I also work in restaurants, which are very loud, and you have to carry your voice. So I'm loud. I don't know. My energy, I'm a human being. Some days I probably will come across more calm and zen and whatever, and other days I might seem a little bit more uppity because I just got off of work or that creative surge is coming through me. I'm not a monotonous, no human should be one-dimensional with their emotions. I think we're all multifaceted in how we express ourselves, and that's just one of the many categories, but that how people perceive you, it's going to change, and it's going to be a reflection of where that person is at, not just with how your energy is perceived, but with what you're talking about and creating. I've had videos that people say, oh my gosh, this changed my life, this was so helpful. And then I've had, in that same video, someone said this was 45 minutes of gibberish nonsense. And then I've had people say, you're totally an inspiration and you're such a strong woman. And then I've had people say, wow, what a train wreck, in the same video. Who's right? I don't know. It just, their perception is their perception. Their perception is allowed to be their perception. That's why it's important to know, not just if you are a YouTube creator, but with anything in life, people's perception of you is based on their own filtration system of their own thoughts, beliefs, experiences, what they had for breakfast, if their dog is sick that day, what, spiritual beliefs they have, what happened with their family. Like, there are infinite myriad things that will affect how a person perceives you and perceives your work. And it's not necessarily credible. That's something to keep in mind. Haters gonna hate and lovers will love. It's just, all you can do is focus on doing what feels good to you and try to be a good person throughout it. And it'll be received how it's going to be received. You can't really control that, but just take any sort of feedback you get with a grain of salt. Sometimes it really is constructive feedback. And other times it's just a projection of someone that's in a really salty ass mood and wants to take it out on you. So that's always something to bear in mind. Number 4, breaks are crucial. I just took the last 2 weeks-ish basically off of December from the internet entirely. I did not respond to comments on this channel, even though I love responding to comments. I've responded to, of the 8,000, almost every single one. I felt guilty, like a bad mother, a bad teacher at that moment of cutting people off, but it makes me, at the end of the day, a better creator and a better person to connect and uplift and inspire, which is what I am here to do if I set those really strict boundaries of breaks. And that's something, not just if you're a creator, that's something, it's essential for whatever you're doing in life, especially if you have, it may seem impossible if you have children or a spouse, or you're taking care of someone with special needs or elderly, or you're working 2 jobs, or the list of responsibilities in the Western world is insane. But you have to, that's why there's, you can't take a break from, say, feeding your kids, but you can absolutely take a break from Instagram, or you can absolutely take a break from whatever the hell show is popular on Apple TV right now. Penciling in those moments are crucial for your mental health, and those resets will let you come back stronger. It may seem like, especially if it's taking a break from, say, something that's borderline necessity, like working on a paper for school or a presentation for work, or getting back to work emails or whatever, something that's less frivolous than, say, Netflix, even pushing, being very, very strict about those boundaries, not meeting up with a friend when you, need that time to have rest and reprieve. You have to be very strict with those boundaries so you can reset and come back to baseline and ground zero, and then you come back stronger and have more to offer your relationships and the people in your life and the projects in your life, your children, whatever. If you just are nonstop going on the treadmill, go, 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 pound of coffee, yeah, I'll get it done, you are going to crash and burn, and you will ultimately not be doing a service to those around you, because you will be just haggard and unable and incapable of giving your best mental, physical, spiritual, emotional self. So penciling in breaks, again, it doesn't always have to be exactly even too, as I mentioned before with the waves of creativity. Balance doesn't mean every single day looks the same, every single week looks the same, every single month looks the same, or year, whatever. It's going to be ebbs and flows. There's times when I'm very busy with this and other things in life, and I was extremely sort of felt overworked in a week, and that's when I'll pull back and do less the next week. Or maybe between filming, editing, responding to comments, and going to work that day, I had a 14 or 15 hour day. There's some days where a creative wave pushed me to working till 3 in the morning. That is rare. I don't do that this much, but I just really needed to do it in that moment, and it felt great. But then the next day I did absolutely nothing to balance it out. So you have to find your own balance with it, but penciling in breaks, whether it's 5 minutes a day or 1 day a week where you don't touch your phone, that's usually what I try to do. Find what works for you, but those resets are absolutely vital to your health. So definitely squeeze those in while you can. number, I don't know what number, these aren't, I'm gonna stop numbering, I lost count, they're bullets. Next one, we'll just call it that. It's about showing up, not perfection. This is timely because, oh, here in the face, speaking of perfection, I just released a video about how I decluttered perfectionism, and I am not perfect at trying to not be perfect anymore, ha ha ha. Meaning the perfectionism monster will absolutely rear its head, and my past patterning can definitely show up sometimes. Sometimes I don't give a shit. My video, I will look at it and, oh, my hair, this piece was sticking out, or oh, the sun was like in my face, or the little iPhone shadow was there, or I think there was one video, it was particularly dry that day. The humidity was down to like 19%, and I filmed a very long video, and I had some like spit in the corner of my mouth, and it was hilarious because some people got so angry and triggered about it, like, oh my God, that's disgusting. And at first I was like, because I saw it when I was going to upload it, and I was like, oh, that sucks. But I was really happy with the content I produced and what I spoke about, and I didn't want to refilm it, so I didn't. Most people didn't notice, but like 4 or 5 salty Magoos were like, that's so foul and disgusting and blah, blah, blah. And it stung for a little bit. I'm like, whatever, dude, like flip your phone over, don't watch it, or go to the next video. Like, the point of this video is, all of my videos, it's not about physical appearance. It's about the content I am producing. So if the perfection monster starts to like nitpick about certain things not being great in the frame, I look further to, well, am I happy with the content I produce? Because again, I'm not here to have people ooh and ah over my appearance. I'm here to spread a message. And if the message is worth spreading, then I will post the video. And it's very rare that I haven't posted a video because I want to just spread something that's authentic and organic. That's why I don't do edits. That's why I don't do jump cuts or any of that stuff, because that's life, that's conversation, right? When you're having a conversation with a friend, there'll be ums and ahs, and sometimes you trip over your words or whatever, but I think that's more of a natural way to communicate than these like plastered, perfect music video, documentaries type things. And there's, not to hate on all those types of videos because they're wonderful ones out there, it's just not what I want to spend my time doing, not how I want to interact with all of you. And even coming to the content itself, I don't get tripped up on the perfectionism of my content because as I mentioned in my perfectionism video from last week, it's about the energy of it. Did I say the bulk of what I wanted to say? Did I communicate something that I think will resonate with people and add value to their lives? If that's a yes, then yes, it's a post. Does that mean it's devoid of tripping over my tongue or ums and ahs? No, those are usually definitely there. And sometimes I'm stuttering right now. Ha, there you go, real time. Sometimes I have a list of things that I want to cover for the video, and because I don't script my videos and I'm just going off the cuff here, sometimes I forget some of them, or I didn't quite explain something exactly to the 9th letter that I wanted to. And for me, I come back to, I call it happy accidents. That's what I used to say when I was coaching my kids. And if we were choreographing something and I asked them to do something and they did it completely wrong, but their wrong version was actually better than what I asked, then that's a happy accident. I think it's just that continual trust in like teeny moments like that of, okay, I didn't quite execute this exactly how I envisioned, but I think what is supposed to come through will come through. And that's something you can apply to any endeavor in your life, whether it's a job interview or a work speech or whatever. Maybe it didn't go exactly as planned, but trust yourself that what is supposed to come through will come through. And if you left something out by accident, then it probably was meant to be left out. Or if you're organically creating the moment, maybe you add something in that you didn't have previously planned. I think that's the freedom of communicating in this style. So letting go of the perfectionism, let something organic and authentic come through. And as long as the right energy is there for me, I forget about the little details of perfection that I think really just don't matter with what I'm trying to do here, at least. Moving on, where am I here? You never know what's gonna hit. Sometimes a video I feel really excited about it and it tanks. And I mean, tanks is not the right word, because as long as one person watched it and found some value in it, there's that's a success. Or if it was artistically fulfilling for me to create, then that's a success. And most of my videos have had more than one person watch them, but sometimes there will be a video that I'm like, oh, I don't think that I did the greatest job on that, but whatever, I did my best. Again, back to the previous point, and then it will blow up for some reason, and a ton of people will watch it, and that's great. But again, it's coming back to you with also, I mentioned in the perfectionism video, that attachment to outcome. If you're expecting it to do great and it doesn't, that doesn't mean it's a failure. It just means there's so many unknowns, there's so many variables there. It's through the lens of other people's perception and what's valuable to them, what resonates with them in that moment, and that is what the algorithm's doing, what video that person watched before, whatever, what happened in their day. There are a million different factors that can affect how a video actually lands with people, and most of them, I would say a large majority of them, are completely out of your hands and almost irrelevant to the level of content that you produce. Like, you can't say just because this video got 50,000 views, it is inherently good. Just because this video only got 3,000 views, it is inherently bad. Some people would say by success rates, that's a way to measure it. For me, that's not how I'm going to measure it. I'm going to measure it by how I felt in that moment. Did I feel connected? Did I feel like I was speaking from the heart? And did at least one or two people say, wow, this was really helpful? If so, then I did my job, and that's my rubric for success. Next, mean comments are always an opportunity. They are an opportunity for three things. Number one, it's an opportunity for education. If they say something and it is something I can clearly give a response that might let them think in a new way, that's not always the case, but if that window is sort of open, then I will do that. A lot of times they're so mean and spiteful that I just have learned to leave it. I used to respond to every single mean comment, and I found that is a waste of energy because most people are just where they're at and they're not willing to receive a different perspective. But sometimes there is an opening to where I can say something that is perhaps, you can sort of tell with people if they're maybe going to be a little bit open, and I can give a response that would maybe provide some sort of education to make them scratch their head and say, huh, okay, well, maybe I hadn't really thought about it that. And then that's a great thing. The next thing it is an opportunity for is checks and balances for myself. I don't think I am always right. I certainly am human and makes mistakes. And within a mean comment, even if it's a really jerky delivery, there could be a reflection of, oh, maybe I did come across in this way that was not the best way to come across, whether it was offensive or hurtful or closed-minded in some way, which are all not things I intend to do, but I am human, and you don't know, again, like I said, everyone will perceive in their own way. And I'm not here to ruffle any feathers. I'm here to, I talk about some controversial things that are outside of the norm, but I'm not here to just intentionally piss people off to get views. That is gross. But occasionally, even when I'm well-intending, something will land a certain way, and so someone will respond, and it's an opportunity for me to look at myself and say, oh, okay, maybe I should think twice before I speak about XYZ in such a way. And the third thing mean comments are an opportunity for are strength in my inner practice. Sometimes people are just plain jerks, and they're probably suffering very much themselves, and it's in the moment. Have I been personally offended by some comments over the months and year? Yes, 100%. I am human. I am not a robot. There's been some really heartily angry, and it's one thing to attack the content you're talking about, but I've had some very personal attacks, but that's YouTube. That's the law of the land. It happens to everyone. And in those moments, it's an opportunity to strengthen my practice of, one, compassion for that person and thinking they're probably very much suffering themselves, and two, putting on a shield of myself and saying, okay, that person will think what they think, but are they credible, or are they just a stranger in my life? And what do I actually think of myself? And it's an opportunity to strengthen your own self-worth and value and sort of deflect the bird shit flying at you, and just come back to your own center and say, okay, they can say that, but it doesn't have to have an effect on me, which is not easy to do, but it definitely is a practice that you can take in any arena in life, because there's always going to be salty magoos flinging throwing tomatoes at you because of whatever reason. And it's easier said than done to not take it personal, but it definitely is possible to not take it personal. So that's for the haters out there. Next, even in mindfulness, I still make mistakes. I sort of just touched on this, but as I said, while I talk about some controversial things on this channel, it's not a clickbaity channel. I'm not bringing up these issues just to rock the boat and piss people off and be controversial and get views and whatever. I'm talking about things that I'm very passionate about and are very meaningful to me. And I always try to come across as respectful and tolerant and compassionate. But again, it's the amount of exposure, and it goes up with the amount of views a video gets. The odds of pissing people off just, they are there. And even there's been a few times, not a ton, but a few where I've really offended some people, and I do feel bad about that, and that's not my intention here. And as I said, it isn't always an opportunity before you to get, defensive and say, oh, that person just, it's like, okay, that person really perceived this thing in a certain way and it was hurtful to them. Where can I look at the way in which I speak and present information so it is not hurtful to people? Because I am not here to do that. I'm here to give information and uplift and inspire, but I'm not here to just intentionally be mean to people, because that sucks. Like, there's enough of that on the internet. And so when I do say something that really triggers someone, I feel bad and I apologize when it's possible. And I look at ways in which I can prevent coming across in such a way in the future. You can't completely avoid it no matter what, because again, people will always, there's always so much subjectivity in there, but just know that I am human and I am doing my best, and I will continue to do my best. Next, force versus flow. This is kind of along the creativity lines, but I've talked before, I think I have a video on this. It's an older one called Force versus Flow, letting go of control. So I'll put it in the notes, or if anyone is curious about that, ask me and I'll find the title and I'll comment it to you. But essentially knowing the difference between a creative flow, which feels like a pulling energy, and then bulldozing, which is like a pushing energy, which is the American way, climb the corporate ladder, like just get it done no matter what, like never give up. And that level of tenacity is good, and it's in me, and it's authentic to me. But I've found with stuff like this, if I get too much into that state and I really am in a dry spell of creativity, it is best to just pull back a little bit and come back to baseline and center and start again from a different energy. Because when I'm in that creative block, but the ego and the American, like, just do it anyway, and I'm an athlete and push through, and it's like pulling teeth. It's very rare that I have to start and stop a video a ton of times, but it's happened a handful of times where I've been in that state and I'm just in the force bulldozer state, and I've started and stopped a video trying to film like 20 times, and all of a sudden it's a 2-hour project. And then when it comes out, it's like, it ended up being okay, but it was just like pushed out and not a good energy and not a good flow, and not at all what I wanted to embody with my energy and what I want to communicate. So I think with anything in life, again, penciling in those breaks and penciling in time for silence and rejuvenation. If you're in that just manic kind of push, get it done, and it doesn't feel flowy, then it's just better to take a step back in that moment if you can. Moving on to the bottom. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a Christmas cold that we're getting over. It's on the men's, but it just, okay, we're good now. Attachment equals resistance. I sort of mentioned this earlier, but if I'm attached to the outcome of video and I'm like, oh my God, this one was so great. I felt so connected. It felt so awesome. I feel like I'm really happy with what I communicated. I think it's really gonna hit. As soon as I put that expectation on, it doesn't. And then there's videos where I'm just like, I just get it done and I was in flow, and then let it go and forget about it. All of a sudden, poof, that video will blow up. It's time and time again, law of attraction, letting go. When you're so attached and fixated on an outcome, it's going to create resistance. And when you just flow and let it go and let it be and move on with your life, it oftentimes will just take off in the direction you want it to. And I've seen that happen time and time again with my videos, but I think that's a reminder for everything in life, just letting go of the expectation of the outcome, will get you much better results than just begging for an outcome or being so certain that you have to get things a certain way. That usually doesn't end up well for you. Which brings me to the very last point that we have here. We're at 30 minutes, so I should be wrapping this up anyway. That's, again, back to the subjectivity. Some people are like, I love your long videos, they're so great to listen to. And other people are like, shut up, you talk too much. Like, who's right? You decide. But anyway, the very last point here, here's my froggy throat again. I've been talking a lot. Not everyone is going to like you, so you may as well just be your damn self. I've mentioned this sort of throughout many of these points here, but everything is subjective, and if you try to be everything to everyone, you will end up being nothing to no one, and you won't have a very good time in life because it doesn't feel good to not be authentic. If you try to be this kind of person to this person, but this kind of person to that person, and oh, well, this person said I was too loud, so maybe I should talk more Zen like the other minimalist channels, and oh, this person said I, shouldn't be talking about veganism. Okay, well, I don't want to talk about veganism. Or this person said I shouldn't talk about this, I'm not gonna talk about that. And then all of a sudden you're just like diluted nothingness, and your power will be completely diminished if you're trying to please everyone and be masquerading with all these different masks to different people. And I think I've done, for the most part, a pretty good job at staying authentic on this channel, but definitely there's the moments of insecurity of when people says, I don't like this thing about you and you should do it this way, where as a human being, there's that moment of, well, maybe I should sort of conform to that, but it takes coming back into your own center to know, no, I'm going to be the most potent version of myself, and hope that gives some value to some people's lives, but know that it won't give value to everyone's life, and that is going to be okay. But if you're a diluted version of yourself, just being sort of micro fragments trying to please everyone, you end up not going to please anyone, because your potency and your power and your authenticity is completely gone. And you will have no joy in life, because it is exhausting trying to people please. It is exhausting diluting your own inner flame and just trying to be something else for everyone, when you ended up having no idea who you are and what gives you joy and happiness. So come back to your inner flame, be 100% exactly who you are. That doesn't mean be a jerk, but stay in your power and give of your heart, and the people that are meant to receive it will receive it, and the people that are not meant to receive it won't, and that is totally okay, but it is a much better place to be in. Okay, my friends, thank you for listening to all of this. I hope this is helpful, whether you are an aspiring YouTuber or not, with anything in life. Let me know in the comments if any of this hit, and other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.